Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe and follow me on Instagram at Glowy Fit Girl. Today I wanted to share with you guys some tips if you want to travel solo. So solo traveling is something that I just started doing at the end of 2020 and I totally loved it, and I would definitely recommend everyone to take at least one solo trip in your lifetime. It is honestly the best thing ever, and honestly, if you're someone who's not comfortable spending time by yourself, if you're very codependent on other people, or if you just feel like you're gonna be like weird and out of sorts, trust me, you're gonna be just fine, because I used to be all of those things. And definitely 2020 taught me a lot of things, like self-growth wise, and I would definitely say like ending 2020 with the solo trip was like the cherry on top to establishing my self-growth and my confidence. And also, just as someone who loves to travel, I finally like just realized that I can't wait on other people to want to do things with me. So it was just a great way for me to reassure myself that I know what I'm doing and that I should always do things I want to do, despite the fact that I might have no one else to do them with. So tip number one would definitely be to always have a list of locations and destinations that you want to visit. Make sure that you have different destinations, because the way I go about it is I check flight prices first. So depending on which location is the most affordable, that's the one that I would probably choose. So make sure you always have a list of the destinations you want to go to. Tip number two would be to use Google Flights. So I love using Google Flights because you can play around with the dates and you can definitely see which dates are more affordable than others. And also, going back to tip number one with the destinations, you also want to make sure that you're checking which location is definitely more affordable depending on the month that you're trying to go on your vacation. So Google Flights lets you check, I think, up to like 6 months in advance, but I usually never plan a trip 6 months in advance. I usually do everything within like I don't know, like a month or two before, just because I'm very like impatient, but also like I spend a lot of time planning before that. It's just, I think that's just like me like manifesting the trip, but like finally like checking flights and all of that, I do it like sort of last minute. But yeah, tip number three would be to what would tip number three be? I'm sorry, I just spaced out. This view is so beautiful. So tip number three would probably be to check the weather before you choose the destination. So go back to your tip number one, check all the destinations that you want to go to, or pick a few of them that you really want to go to, and start checking the weather for the month that you're trying to go. And also, right now with COVID, make sure that you're checking the regulations and how it is traveling to that specific country with COVID regulations. So make sure that you find out if you need to be vaccinated, because some locations you just need a negative COVID test, but other places do want you to be vaccinated. Make sure that you find any online forms that you need to fill out. When I went to Puerto Rico, I had to fill out a form online for Puerto Rico, and basically they would text me every single day asking about symptoms and just, I guess, making sure that I was informing them of how I'm feeling. And I think that was just their way of managing, and I know other countries are also doing the same thing. So make sure that you're checking the weather, check the COVID regulations. You don't want to book a trip and then go and find out that you can't fly back home, or ask for the days off at work and then get to the airport and find out you can't even get to that country because you don't have the requirements that are necessary. So yeah, the next tip, I think I lost count. I think we're up to like tip 4 or 5, but the next tip would definitely be to make sure that you're packing all the necessary, say it with me, necessary items, especially if you're going alone. You do not want to be traveling with 2 big suitcases, a carry-on, a backpack, a purse. Like, it's just way too much. And I know we all want to look cute on vacation, but unless I have a man with me, or like, not that I need a man, But like I'm strong, but it's just like honestly like I just don't want to be carrying all that stuff. It's so unnecessary. So I'm very simple in general, so I would definitely recommend just packing whatever you really think you need, and packing basically at least like 2 pair of shoes. I wouldn't say more than 2, like one that you can totally match most of your outfits with, maybe like a pair of sandals, and then I guess the third option would be like if you're going somewhere like beachy or you're gonna be in the water, like some water shoes. But honestly, I'm very simple, so what I try to do is just match all my outfits to the same pair of shoes so I don't have to bring too many. And honestly, what I've noticed also is sometimes in my head I think that I'm gonna use like all the 20 outfits that I'm bringing, and then it just turns out that like one of the days that I'm there, like the outfits I had planned to wear on that specific day, like I just don't even make it back to the hotel in time to like change. Like sometimes you're just out and about all day exploring or doing activities, and like honestly you kind of forget about what you're wearing and it's more about the experience itself. So I would definitely say pack light. So the next tip would be to bring adequate equipment, especially if you're someone like me who loves to record and take pictures of absolutely everything. When I went to Puerto Rico alone, I made sure I had a water case, and I made sure that I got myself like a tiny little tripod with a remote control. This way I could take photos of myself and I wouldn't really have to ask anyone. Also, December, I went for the New Year's, so it was December going into January, and COVID was definitely still more like, I guess, like people were more fearful of COVID because then summer came around and then everybody forgot about COVID. But I also thought about how I didn't want to bother or make anyone feel uncomfortable by asking them to take a picture of me. Because normally I would feel uncomfortable asking for someone to take a photo of me regardless, but because of COVID, it was just like I really don't want to make anyone feel like they have to, or like, you know, having to touch my phone and just like they don't know where I've been and I don't know where their hands have been. So it was just a matter of like being considerate to myself and to other people. So I will definitely put the links for both the case and the tripod, and the tripod is actually what I'm using right now, and it's actually how I've been taking most of my Instagram photos. So if you follow me, go leave a like and let me know that you came from YouTube by leaving a blue butterfly. The next tip would definitely be to make sure that you have a written plan of what you want to do. And I'm not saying you have to be a total control freak about it, because I know I am. Like I love planning and just having lists of like exactly what I'm gonna do. But just in general, it's nice to know that you have somewhat of a plan, especially if you're going alone. You want to make sure that you have ideas of activities, places that you want to visit, restaurants that you want to go to, certain foods that you want to try, stores that you want to visit. So I like to just kind of plan out the days and like I'm gonna do this on this day, this on that day, from this time to that time, that sort of thing. And that also goes along with like the outfits. Like I definitely plan the outfits according to the activities. So it's kind of helpful to have the plan written down first of what you want to do, and this helps you pack your clothes like a lot better, because then you know, okay, I need this and I don't need that. And I guess it also just depends on your personality and the type of person that you are and what you're into and how you like to travel and what you like to do when you travel. But I would definitely say having a written plan helps. When I went to Puerto Rico, I did have everything written down of what I wanted to do. I always like to search the hotel area, depending on the hotel that I choose. I like to search the area and make sure that I have restaurants nearby, that I have, like if I wanted to be at the beach the whole time, like I made sure that the beach was like a block away. So for hotels, I like to use Expedia, and I've never had a problem with Expedia. I have heard people having problems with Expedia recently due to COVID, like they don't allow refunds or something like that, but I personally have never had an issue with Expedia, so those are my go-to. So I usually use Google Flights for the flights and Expedia for the hotels. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Make sure you have a written plan, have a list with options of different destinations, because honestly I like to travel on a budget, and I just feel like it's always better to choose whatever you can afford. This way you can spend more money on activities or just save the money and, you know, use it for your next trip. Make sure that you're comparing prices on Google Flights. Make sure that you're bringing camera equipment or waterproof equipment. Make sure you're packing light. Make sure you check the COVID regulations. Make sure that you are kind of like prepared to, I guess, communicate with other people. If there's a language barrier, just kind of learn the basics. And I think that's pretty much it. So if you guys like this video, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you follow me on Instagram at glowyfitgirl, and make sure that you like this video and leave me a comment. If you have any other questions regarding solo traveling and solo travel tips, please let me know. I would love to make more videos about this. So I do have a video on the Puerto Rico trip, so if you want to check that out. And I do have another trip coming up soon, a solo trip, so I will definitely be recording and making a video about that trip. I'll see you guys next time, and I hope you guys have a great day.